Hello friends, how are we all? It is Reese here and you join me today for a different sort of video to the one I normally do, but this is one that I couldn't resist. So I am a big fan of the Toy Story franchise, and I am speaking here about 4 or 5 days after having watched Toy Story 5, and I wanted to do something on Toy Story. I love Toy Story. I've presented conference papers on Toy Story, I've written things on Toy Story, I love it. It's absolutely one of my favourite films. But something else I'm also a big fan of is film music. And so I thought it'd be a fun thing to do to sort of combine these two interests together. Talk about the music of the franchise, but then I thought what might be more interesting, perhaps, is to look at all the songs. So what I'm going to do today is rank every song in the Toy Story franchise. And by every song, I mean every song that's sort of exclusively written for the Toy Story films. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through each song in order and put them on a ranking, and that ranking is not necessarily, I'm not doing like a tier list or anything like that, and the ranking is not necessarily saying any of these songs are sort of bad necessarily, but it is sort of ranking the songs against each other, right? So there are 12 songs on the list. I'm going to go through them in release order and film order, and of those 12 there's only one that I would say is a bad song. What will it be? How exciting! You'll get to see as we go through. But yes, I'm going to go through these. We'll talk about the franchise and see if you agree, disagree with my rankings. What is your favourite song in the Toy Story franchise? You see, I have details on the screen there, so please do follow me, and please do comment below, like, subscribe. Follow this video. I'm looking forward to chatting with you, and if this is something you like, again, let me know and suggest other things I may be able to rank. So let us begin with sort of the essential Toy Story song, You've Got a Friend in Me. So this is essentially Woody's theme, as it were, a theme that epitomises and represents his friendship with Andy in the first 3 films, and then deployed in a sort of slightly subverted way for the 4th film, after Woody is kind of sort of ignored and overlooked by Bonnie. It is light-hearted, fun, bouncy. This is a fun sort of brass line, and sort of the gentle little choir throughout some of the performance, written and performed by Randy Newman, who is sort of essentially the sound of Toy Story, who I've been lucky to meet on several occasions. And this is a song that is, absolutely stood the test of time. This is the essential Toy Story song. So what I'm going to do is sort of around the ranking when they appear, sort of they're going to appear in relation to each other. So necessarily, as the first song on the list, You've Got a Friend in Me immediately goes in as number 1. Later in the film, we have Strange Things. So Woody has come across Andy's new toy, a Buzz Lightyear action figure, and as Andy grows sort of more interested in Buzz than him, Woody's world starts to change. He sees many of the Western iconographies and things in Andy's room replaced with Buzz toys, Buzz merchandise, and this song plays to sort of epitomise sort of Woody's struggling with sort of the shift in the relationship, the shift in the hierarchy. This is again a fun, bouncy one. There is a sort of a descending sort of motif that is kind of sort of the main through line of the song, and it culminates in sort of a chorus in which Newman quite literally reiterates, "Strange things are happening to me." It's sort of another song really from the perspective of the Woody character. It's a fun song, a good fun song. I mean, necessarily it has to go below You've Got a Friend in Me, because Strange Things has not quite stood the test of time as much, but again, it is a song that sort of effectively, perfectly speaks to that moment. It speaks to the shift, and Woody not quite being able to fully process the fact that he may no longer be the number 1 toy. And then the third song in the original Toy Story, I Will Go Sailing No More. So Buzz is forced to reckon with the reality that he is a toy and may not be able to fly. The song performs as he essentially rallies against his climbing to the top of the staircase in Sid's house, and then testing himself by flying, and then discovering that he will fall because he's not Buzz Lightyear. The song is Buzz Perception, again, another Randy Newman number, and it's a song of sort of both highs, emotionally, highs. No, it can't be true. I can fly if I wanted to, and followed by sort of the sort of depressing low of the music falling, descending, and then that heartbreaking final line as a buzz lays broken on the ground. Clearly, I will go sailing no more. It's a beautiful tune. It really is. Again, it's capturing. It's sort of speaking specifically to this moment. But it lands beautiful. It's a really beautiful song. What you can find in this list is some of the sadder ones perhaps are going to inch their way more towards the top. So again, it doesn't have that same impact of You've Got a Friend in Me. It sort of really lands in this moment, but just for the sheer shelf life of You've Got a Friend in Me, I'm going to place it between You've Got a Friend in Me and Strange Things. And then lastly, the final song in the original Toy Story is a duet of You've Got a Friend in Me that is played in the credits. And this is a performance by Randy Newman and Lyle Lovett. And it's a song sort of that bounces back and forth between the two. And I'm less partial to this one, simply because I think sort of having a duet kind of sort of breaks away from the it kind of sort of You've Got a Friend in Me is sort of about a specific relationship of one friend to another. I don't think sort of it captures the same sort of beats really as a duet. This is not knocking it at all. You know, the performances are both brilliant. Newman and Lovett together, and the instrumentally, musically, it's still vaguely the same song. But I'm going to put this to the bottom of my list, simply because I just don't think it lands in the same way as the other songs in the film. You know, it's the credit song. So this is where we are after Toy Story 1. I think this may not perhaps be a controversial lineup at all. As compared to Toy Story 2, in which we have 3 new songs, and the first is Woody's Roundup. So this is a song that is essentially sort of written as the theme tune to Woody's Roundup, their TV show from the 1950s, starring Woody, starring Jessie, Bullseye, and Stinky Pete the Prospector. And this is played as Woody sort of realises, as the other toys show Woody his history. It's a fun, bouncy song. I quite enjoy it. It's a song written for a specific beat, that is to be the theme tune, and it functions really effectively as that. It's very bouncy and fun, and a little introduction to each of the characters. Jessie, the yodeling cowgirl. Bullseye, he's Woody's horse. He's very much sort of hitting the beats that you need that thing to do. As a result, sort of, it's perhaps not the most engaging of songs in the same way You've Got a Friend in Me has that sort of catchiness to it, because it's meant to be a specific brief. I'm putting this between Strange Things and the duet of You've Got a Friend in Me. And then we move on to When She Loved Me, the heartbreaking song, and that Toy Story 5 very, very cruelly reactivates in its score music. So this is Jessie's theme, a song that reflects on Jessie's relationship with her owner, her kid Emily, and what happens in the montage as Emily essentially disappears, as Emily leaves her. It is heartbreaking. This is the way this lands. It is an absolute gut punch, and remember, there's not a dry eye in the house when this plays. And the sequence as a whole is beautiful, really one of the most beautiful things Pixar ever did, and has done, and although it has pulled some sort of equally sad moments throughout the franchise. So there is a wonderful demo of this with Newman singing, but in the film himself, sort of he opts for Sarah McLachlan as performer, and it just really adds to the emotional gut punch. This may be a controversial move, this may be controversial, but it's going, in my eyes, to the top of the pile. It's an absolutely beautiful song that really captures that sort of painful emotions, of that painful feeling of being left behind, being lost, being forgotten, and reconciling that with someone you care about. And it's such a beautiful tune, and that is both simple and incredibly rich and deep at the same time. So absolutely to the top of the pile. And then lastly, last song in Toy Story, another reprise of You've Got a Friend in Me, performed by Wheezy the Penguin, who, when his fingers returned, suddenly takes on the voice of Robert Goulet. Performs this very sort of jazzy, upbeat If You've Got a Friend in Me. And I like it. I like the arrangement here. It's really funny. This sort of very, very unexpected. It comes sort of, I don't know, it's very sort of jazz swing big band style. It's a good one. A gorgeous, gorgeous arrangement. In terms of all the arrangements of this song, other than the original, this is the best one by far. I mean, it's so sort of almost sort of croonerish, and I quite like it. I really like it. And I'm going to place this right in the middle of the pile where we are at the moment. And I like this. If you're going to listen to any You've Got a Friend in Me that's not the original, this is the one to go for. Right, we skip on to Toy Story 3. We Belong Together, Randy Newman's Oscar-winning song for Toy Story 3. Never an Oscar I particularly agreed with, so he was nominated for You've Got a Friend in Me, he was nominated for When She Loved Me, he was nominated for this, he was nominated for a song in Toy Story 4 that we'll come to. Although I'm happy he's won too, he also won for Monsters Inc., If I Didn't Have You. This year he was up against I See the Light from Tangled, which I think is sort of objectively sort of the better song, as it were. If Alan Menken hadn't won so many Oscars in the 90s, he'd probably have got one there. But anyway, yes. So this, again, is a really fun, bouncy, fun song about friendship and sort of being there for each other. I like it. Again, I really like it. It's sort of in the one of the upper echelons of the franchise. And it's a fun, bouncy, sort of typical Randy Newman song. There's a wonderful chorus where sort of he brings in sort of backing vocals for We Belong Together. The lyrics are very, very fun. I'm putting this again in sort of the upper echelons. I've just put it below I Will Go Sailing No More, because I think it which lands and it sort of captures I can't put it high much so I find the song fun, because it comes immediately after sort of the real heartbreaking ending of Toy Story 3. And a song about friendship and belonging together immediately after that gut punch of saying goodbye to someone. It's an interesting choice, but I like the song nonetheless. So I put there. And the second song, this appears in the credits of Toy Story 3 as well. Hay un amigo en mí. So another arrangement of You've Got a Friend in Me. Playing in the credits and taking sort of playing on the fact that in the film, in the narrative, Buzz is set to a Spanish mode. So this is a Spanish version of You've Got a Friend in Me, performed by the Gypsy Kings. And in the end credits, this song plays and Buzz dances with Jessie. Very sort of Latin-inspired music, sort of castanets. There's the guitar feel to it. The song transforms very effectively into a sort of a Latin room, and it is really grand. Actually, this is one I very rarely revisit in truth, and again, sort of where it's positioned in the film, that it's sort of attached to Spanish Buzz, as he's flirting with Jessie, but sort of essentially the message of You've Got a Friend in Me doesn't really match that context, because he's sort of romantically interested in Jessie rather than as a friend. This is not a bad song by any means. It's very fun, very Latin. If you like Latin music as well, definitely want to check out. I'm putting it to the bottom of the pile just because it's the one that I would probably revisit the least. That's not to say, I'm stressing on that, it's not to say that this is bad. But that is where it's going in my ranking. Please disagree with me and tell me why I'm wrong if you think I am. Toy Story 4. I Can't Let You Throw Yourself Away. So this is one of two new songs for the 4th film. Played. Woody has taken it upon himself to take care of Bonnie's new toy Forky, as he is struggling for purpose in a post-Andy life. And his mission, essentially, as Forky believes, is made out of garbage and thus believes itself to be trash. He's taken it upon himself to stop Forky from putting himself in the bin. The song is highly literal, really. It's another song for a moment. And it takes on a fun sort of gospel aesthetic, and sort of backing choirs and Newman's voicing I Can't Let You Throw Yourself Away is kind of the repeated through line. There are moments where it goes for sort of a general feel. Don't you want to see the sun come up each morning? Don't you want to see the sun go down each day in the lyrics? But then it's sort of moments as well where it tends to sort of the specific narrative of the film. Don't you want to see that little girl who loves you so? Her heart would break if you should go. This is a fun, bouncy tune. So this was the fourth. So this is the fourth Oscar nomination, song-wise, for Toy Story, and the last one to date. The year was, if I'm honest, not the best year for nominated songs. Elton John won for the new Lion King film, and what was a bit of a May year for the category generally. I like the song. It's fun and it's fun, and as in it sort of specifically fits the moment, and it's kind of this sort of fun, upbeat, poppy, gospel-y. It's something Newman does really, really well. So I'm popping it in the sort of the higher end of the ranking again. And then there was this song, there's a credit song, The Ballad of the Lonesome Cowboy, and performed in the credits by Chris Stapleton, and there's a version on the album as well, performed by Newman. The song is attached to the Woody character, who again is lonesome because he's lost purpose, and it's kind of sort of a Western style, a Western style ballad. There's a definite hint, if you in some of the sort of the patterns of instrumentation and lyric organisation, of a song that Newman wrote for Three Amigos, the Ballad of the Three Amigos. Da 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 da. I was a lonesome cowboy, and that sort of high pitch there sort of matches the line as that we are the three amigos. In that, I'm so sorry. I'm not always going to perform in these. But I must stress, I really like the song. And this is a tune I like, and it is what really captures. When Toy Story 4 came out, there was incredible skepticism about what a fourth film would actually add, given how perfectly 3 wrapped up and how perfectly it captured the trilogy. I think there's still skepticism about it, and one thing is that the film looks gorgeous. This sense of capping off sort of the epilogue for Woody's journey, and this song at the end of the credits really does that. Really sort of sums that up particularly well, I would say. Yeah, so I'm putting this kind of in the middle again. Just below, I Can't Let You Throw Yourself Away. It is a gorgeous, gorgeous sort of country style song. And again, it shows it's kind of an excellent closer for the Woody character. And then we come to the most recent tune. So this is from Toy Story 5, and the only song in the Toy Story franchise not written by Randy Newman, who returned to do the score, but as a result of a neck injury was unable to write songs. So this fell to Taylor Swift. As you'll know if you've seen any marketing for the film whatsoever. So the song plays in the credits. And is ostensibly attached to the Jessie character. It doesn't really some of the other tunes because Newman, of course, was both songwriter and score writer. Sort of some of the motifs and ideas factor into the score, and the song doesn't, and it only appears in the credits. Now, you know how I said that there was only really one bad song in the Toy Story franchise. This is it. Is it controversial? Controversial take. So I was very upset at the idea that anyone other than Randy Newman would be writing music for the Toy Story franchise anyway. Because sort of the sound is so distinctly here. So obviously Michael Giacchino did some of the score music for some of the short films. But yeah, there's a specific feel to it, and this song doesn't capture it. It's a weird song in a sense. So it's ostensibly sort of a country song. Vaguely, it's sort of typical Taylor Swift pop, but not as catchy as that music is. I'm not a Taylor Swift fan, but I acknowledge that some of these songs are incredibly catchy, and once you've listened to them once, sort of they are stuck in your brain. Shake It Off or whatever, it's something that sort of immediately has a hook. And this song, I've listened to it I think 5 times now, and I still really don't remember it in truth. I've had to, so I have the lyrics to my side, and it doesn't really match where I'm saying some of these songs really sort of specifically fit the moment. The lyrics here read almost kind of like an ex-lover coming back. I don't see how it sort of aligns with sort of the spirit of the Jessie character or the narrative at all. There are some sort of vague hints online of Taylor Swift drama and it linking to a previous partner. I don't know any of that stuff. That's not really where I land. Looking at it from the franchise, though, I don't really get how it sort of fits. It doesn't seem to fit the film or the mood or the character. And that, to my mind, is a bad film song, let alone the fact that I don't think it's particularly memorable. There is an interview with Swift where she says that after she saw a version of the film, she wrote this song, recorded it and produced it, and it took about 8 hours, and it very much has that feeling of kind of, in a sense, of not really putting much effort in truth. This may be controversial, feel free to disagree with me, but this is where I sit. There's sort of a fundamental heart, I think, to all of the other Toy Story songs that I don't think exists here, and I don't think it particularly works for the film or for the characters. So it may come as no surprise then to know that I'm wrapping up my rankings by putting this dead at the bottom. So here we are. This is my ranking of all the songs in the Toy Story franchise. And yeah, as I say, sort of 11 of the 12 I think are good songs, particularly numbers 1, sort of the songs towards the top echelon here, 1 to 4 in particular, are sort of gorgeous. I mean, you can make the case that When She Loved Me and You've Got a Friend in Me are essentially 2 of the fundamental best film songs of sort of the past 30 years, definitely. Yes, hopefully this was a fun, interesting ranking. I sort of, as I say, I love film music. I sort of have a sideline as a composer. I listen to a lot of stuff. So if there's sort of music stuff you would like me to talk about and think about, please do let me know. This is something that is sort of very much is my wheelhouse and something I love. So if you have ideas here, please do let me know other music you'd like me to react to and or rank. Please let me know. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this ranking. I'm conscious these are films that most people have seen, and I'm aware that some of the rankings may be controversial and contentious, particularly where I've gone at the bottom. Now, hopefully you found this entertaining nonetheless. I'm going to wrap up here. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to like and make sure to subscribe, ring the bell so you know when there's a new video coming. And thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you all in the next one.